Say hi to the folks, Blondie. Say hi to the folks. Well, hello, folks. Here I am, sitting in my bushcraft chair. Lonnie, if you happen to fall across this video and you're watching it, I want to say thank you. That's Lonnie at Far North Bushcraft and Survival, because he had the original video I watched that gave me the idea to make a chair out of a pair of pants. And by golly, it worked great. And I love it. It's comfortable. It's very comfortable. It's almost like a recliner. And I can sit here and I can watch the pond, and it forms right to your body. It supports, goes right up between my shoulder blades and supports my back just perfectly. I love it. It's great. I'm going to enjoy this tonight. Well, I got the fire going right here. The fire's just right there next to me. And I got the chair located in the perfect spot. Off that direction is east. That direction is south. North is that away. And west is over there. All of our prevailing winds this time of the year and throughout the summer all come from the west, the southwest, and the north. There's my fire pit. I don't have to worry about smoke. It's all going to be blowing away from me. The only time I would have winds that I would have to be concerned about would be winds that would come out of the southeast or right out of the east. Otherwise, I'm not going to get any smoke in my face here. So this ought to work out pretty good. I'm happy with it. Very happy with it. And well, doggone it, I lost another pair of pants. I made a pack out of a pair, and now I got a chair made out of a pair. Sooner or later, I'm going to be sitting here in my boxers doing videos. So please, don't anybody come up with another pants project. Oh gosh almighty, I thought of one the other day. I think I'll have to go out and buy another pair of pants, because I got another pants project that I want to do for you folks. But that'll be a little later this spring or this summer. Okay, I'm going to do a Sty story. In an earlier video I'm out here at the pond. This is my 3-day, 2-night camp out, and yesterday started out just beautiful. Then it turned to rain, and it rained all night, and it got really cold. It got down, when it quit raining, it got down to about 28, 29 degrees. So it was below freezing. I had frost all over the place this morning, and here we are. It's about 60 out right now. It's beautiful, just beautiful. The sky opened up. We got puffy clouds here and there. It's nice blue skies. It's just beautiful. But in an earlier video out here, I was talking about this site and about the need to find high ground and make sure that there's a slight slope away from your actual campsite, so that if you have a heavy rain or a deluge of some type, you don't end up with 2 to 4 inches of water sitting where your shelter is. Well, this story goes way back. I was about 16 years old. Now, any of you young folks listening to Sty's foolishness when he was young, don't go out and copy me. Please do not. Take my mistakes and my shenanigans and take it as a lesson not to do certain things. Well, when I was 16, I had a car, but I didn't have a license. And I used to jump in that car and I'd go off camping all the time. I drove all over the state of Minnesota. I was born and raised in Minnesota. And I'd go all over that state just to go camping by myself. Well, I went to this one river. It's called the Crow River. It was close to the Twin Cities, actually. Mostly farm country and a lot of hardwoods, mostly oaks. And I used to squirrel hunt there all the time. I used to deer hunt along that river. Well, I wasn't that familiar with the shoreline of the banks of the river. I would canoe the river once in a while. Just didn't know the high water marks. Well, I decided one spring, we had an early spring, and the snow all melted off, and then it got cold again. Well, the ice on the river hadn't broke up, but the snow was gone on the ground. And so I thought I was going to camp by the river. So I went and found a beautiful site by the river. I loved it because there was water. There's fish in that river. I could fish. Didn't need to. I brought plenty of food with me. And I had a little pup tent, smaller than this one. And so I set up camp. Nice high ground looking out over the river. Could see the river, could see the other bank. And we had a beautiful day. Got in the 70s. I couldn't believe it. Well, that night I went to bed. I had my fire pit out front. But I crawled in the tent, went to bed. And an odd noise woke me up. It sounded like like there was water coming inside my tent. I unzipped the front of that pup tent and I looked out. I couldn't believe it. That's one time I wished that there was a back door in a tent. That water was right to the door of my tent. The ice had broke up during the night and it dammed up downriver about a mile from where I was camping. And the banks of that river all of a sudden disappeared. That river came up so fast, it had to have risen at least 10 feet to be where it was, where I was camping. I had to crawl out of that tent into water to get out of there. I crawled out of that tent. All my gear was inside the tent. I crawled out of that tent, zipped it shut, went around to the back. Well, as I was going around, I started pulling the corners of the tent up, pulled the stakes right out of the ground. Went around to the back, got a hold of it, and give it a good yank to get it loose with all my gear in it, and started dragging it. Then I realized I couldn't even get to my car. I'm sitting on a mound. That's where my campsite was. It was on a mound. Well, that water came up and went right around that mound. My mound turned into an island. I had to walk through water that was above my knees to get out to my car. I got out to my car and I went home and I told myself, boy, oh boy, always think about what's the worst case scenario when it comes to water. The next morning, I went back there. Now, mind you, this is about 24 hours later. I went back there. The mound that I was camped on no longer existed. You couldn't see it. It was gone. That mound had an oak tree on it. It only had the one oak tree, and I was camped basically underneath the crown of that oak tree. That oak tree was about 40 feet tall. There was only about 30 feet of that oak tree showing. I found out later that water was over 10 feet deep above the top of that mound where my tent was sitting. And that the river had actually crested the following day by 11 o'clock in the morning. Now, if I would have not heard that and got out of there, that river would have washed me away. So when you pick your campsites, Pick them wisely. Unless, of course, you're Noah and you just happen to be camping in an ark. Well, this is Sty North out at the pond, camping and loving every minute of it, and loving his new camp chair. I want to thank you all for watching. Hey, we'll probably get another video out yet today, maybe this evening. And thanks for coming along. It's fun having you with on a camping trip. I like playing the part as a client. Yeah. But I'm not a paying client, you know. Hey, we all want to see you out here at Camp Wilderness Thriving Fundamentals, and keep watching our videos. Thank you, everybody. You have a nice rest of the day.